What's up, everybody? Jason Guyman here tonight, and tonight I'm going to go over a mistake that I see a lot of people make. I was actually on a coaching call this week with one of the guys that I've helped grow his business, and he was making this mistake of leaving money on the table. And whether I'm talking about pressure washing or Christmas lights, I actually had this conversation last year with Christmas lights with another guy. And so this will work for Christmas lights and pressure washing. I see this a lot of times that people want to be booked out all this time. You know, they're booked out 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 weeks, and they're like, Jason, I'm booked out. I can't take no more. And I want to show you tonight, and I'm going to show you as you listen in your comfortable chair or wherever you may be at tonight, of why this is not a great deal to do. This is something that we need to start learning how we can make sure that you're not leaving money on the table. And so that's what I'm going to hit on tonight. And, you know, I actually had this conversation this week. I just got back from Utah. We all went out to Lights at Wholesale, and we had a great time out there. And so with Lights at Wholesale, we were also looking at how to help what we can do better and to become a better team. And so these are some things that we got to learn about how to not leave money on the table. Also, while I was flying out to Utah, I got this book. I recommend this book. I highly recommend this book. This is one of my top books that if you are struggling to get customers, this book here will definitely help you get more customers, especially as we're getting into the AI world, as we are getting to the point that Google might not even show you on Google anymore. And so this here is a great book. I highly recommend this book here. It's by Marcus Sheraton. He wrote the book, They Ask You Answer. And I actually am a little bit surprised, but because most of you know that I've struggled in the past to be able to read and stuff. And I made it to page 145. So you can see how many pages that I've read. I only have about 100 pages left. And so I thought that was pretty awesome of me being able to read this book. Most of the time I listen to books, but this is a book that I wanted to be able to read and be able to start understanding. I've actually bought this book, and then I bought the audio version of this book also, but the audio version does not come out till I believe it's May 15th, I believe is the date, or the 21st. I don't know. It's one of those two dates. So the audio version book is not out yet, as far as I know, as of May the 11th. It could be out, but I'm not 100% sure. But again, this here is a great book. I highly, highly, highly recommend this book to you. I promise you, if you take a third of this and put into your business, it will blow you away. So that's what I want to hit on, is endless customers. And endless customers is designed to teach you how to get customers even when AI is coming more and more away. Because Google is going to the 0 clicks, right? Google don't want you to be clicking off of Google. They want to give you the answer right away. And so that's something to think about as we are moving forward. This is a great book. I highly recommend it. So all you mamas out there, if you are, make sure that you are happy Mother's Day. Today is Sunday, May the 11th of Mother's Day. And so happy Mother's Day to you. If you have a spouse, make sure that you let them know that, or get the kids to get their stuff for the mama, or let your mama know that it is Mother's Day. And so it is a great day because, if it wasn't for them and the work that they've done, you wouldn't be here. So that's what I have to say about that. So we got Jeremy Olson in here saying, watching by the fire pit outside. It is a beautiful day out. I don't know why that's not coming up. I'm going to try another screen here. See if I can try this screen, if it'll come up here. There we go. Jeremy's watching by the fire pit outside, hoping everyone is killing it. And so that is where we are. It is definitely a beautiful day out, and the phone is starting to ring. Of course, it is supposed to start raining this week. And so that is where I'm at right now. So here's what I'm going to say. This past week, before I went to Utah, I got a phone call. It was a coaching call that I took. And on this coaching call, he's a good friend of mine, and I've helped him get his business to pretty much a lot of where it is, and he's doing very well. And so he has 2 trucks that go out every day, and they're making about $1,200 a day for average. Now, some of you may think that's good, but I'm going to show you how that can actually be hurting you, right? And so as I was talking to him and explaining to him of how he's leaving money on the table, because not only does he have 2 trucks going out every day, he's literally booked out till almost the end of June. He's like, I only got a couple more spots in June. And so the reason why this is hurting your business is because when you're that far booked out, I'm going to kind of walk through here. If you break down the math, let's just say if we can get our average ticket from $1,200 a day to $2,000 a day per truck for 5 days at 800, that's $4,000 a week that he's leaving on the table. So with 2 trucks, he's leaving $8,000 a day on the table, or a week on the table. And so if you times that by the monthly, right, you're leaving $30,000 on the table. Now, I know that most people, and he said the same thing, Jason, you just don't understand. Jason, you don't understand. I can't get no more than that. That's all I can get out of these trucks. And then, of course, my answer is, what's your close rate? Well, I knew you were going to say that, Jason. Well, yes, I'm going to say that, because his close rate, I'm like, how many customers tell you no? And he's like, none. So I'm like, your close rate is, say, 95%? He's like, yeah, it's 95%. So let's just think about this. Let's think that if he got his close rate to 50% and got it to $2,000 a day, then he wouldn't be leaving $32,000 a month on the table. So a lot of times, for him to grow and scale at this point, he would have to bring another truck on to be able to do another $1,200. But instead of doing $2,400 or $3,600 with 3 trucks, what if you did $4,000 a day with 2 trucks? Now, I get it. I understand it. I understand it 100%. Jason, you just can't get that in my area, is what I hear all the time. And after I was talking with him, I figured out some of his problem. And some of this is your problem too that you deal with. Is the mindset that you have and the people that you're around, you struggle with getting the concept of being able to make $2,000 a day. Now, here's the next thing I'm going to say to that. And I understand that some of you aren't to the level of even $1,000 a day, but he's doing his marketing, he's doing his networking, he's doing Google ads, he does yard signs, he's doing all the marketing things that he needs to do, right? He's already doing that. And I understand some of you might just be starting out. This guy's been in business since 2020 or before 2020. So it's not like he's a brand new business. He's been in business for a long time. And so this is where I'm going to get on some of you that may be in this industry that struggle with this. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about pressure washing or Christmas lights. Last year, I had a class in September. And in September, I had a guy that was like, Jason, I only have 3 days not booked out all the way to the end of the season. And I'm like, Well, you got a big problem, right? You got a big problem because you should have raised your prices way before this, because you either got to hire another crew and build out some more, or you're going to leave a lot of money sitting on the table. And so, again, this doesn't matter if I'm talking about pressure washing or Christmas lights. And I get this, Daniel. I get this. I would love to get to $1,000 to $2,000 per day. Again, this here, what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about just starting up. And I understand that. But even I've got guys that are just starting up that are hitting $1,000 to $2,000 a day. So this is why it's important that we understand that what is the true value in your marketplace? What is your true worth? Why don't you believe that you're not worth $2,000 a day? Even you, Daniel, right? Start thinking that you're worth $2,000 a day and start doing things that is worth $2,000 a day. The book that I just brought up here in the beginning, Endless Customers, you have to do tasks that's worth $2,000 a day. You sitting on the truck isn't worth, when you're on the truck and you're doing the jobs. I got another guy coaching that I'm coaching right now that he's having a really hard time getting off the truck. And here's the problem with not getting off the truck. And I understand if you're not doing $1,000 a day, this is not going to be for you right now. But here's what I would tell you. Are you putting out your yard signs? Are you doing your post? Are you making videos? Are you networking as much as you can? Because that is how you will get there, right? And so one of the things that I understood about him was, one is his mindset. So he's a fireman, right? This guy that I'm talking about, the fireman. And he has a full-time job as a fireman. And he's doing all right as a fireman. He's making $80,000, $90,000 a year. But here's the problem with working at the firehouse. I'm going to tell you the problem with working at the firehouse and trying to run a business. The problem with working at the firehouse and trying to run a successful business, and don't get me wrong, if you want to work at the firehouse because you love the firehouse and you love the guys and you love helping people, I'm not dissing you on that. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is when you're around people that don't think like you, it's going to be really hard for you to get out of that area. When you're around people and you're up here and you're making way more than all these other people, these people here are going to bring you down. And this is why it's important to get around people that are successful. And a lot of times you have to pay to get into that room. There's not a lot of rooms where you're on the bottom and they're on the top, right? A lot of times when you start your business and you start thinking differently and you start believing differently and you start believing that you can grow this business and you believe that you can grow this pressure washing business and you believe that you can grow this Christmas light business, this here is one of the things that you have to start thinking differently. And a lot of us coming out of our prices is one of the biggest things. One of the biggest things that I see people do that is the most biggest failure of it all is comparing yourself to your competitors. You're like, well, Jason, my competitor, who cares about your competitors? I don't care about your competitors. Your competitors are their are there. They're running their business. Is it successful? You don't know if that business is successful or not. What is success? Your success may be different from their success. So quit comparing yourself to Joe Schmo down the road. I've had this conversation about 3 times this week because people don't believe me that they can get it in their area. I promise you, the reason why you can't get it in your area is because you're not asking. One of the people that I was talking to this week, he does $1 million a year. And he's like, I'm like, how many jobs do you get told no on? 0. Well, then raise your prices. Well, but then Well, but then what? You're going to make more money and do less jobs? That's the whole point of what I'm teaching you, is to be a successful business. Why do you want to be so busy that you can't do nothing else? You literally can't do nothing else because you're busy, busy, busy. And that's my thing. That's why I'm telling you how to do this. So, one of the things is people would rather be in their comfort zone of being busy than being profitable, right? A lot of people would rather be in a comfort zone of being busy because we take busy and we've been told hard work is what's going to get you to where you want to be at. But being busy does not mean that you're being profitable. Some of you out there right now could go work at McDonald's and make more money per hour than you are right now. And you might think I'm crazy, but I'm not. Because you think that you're making $75, $100 an hour is great money. But in the end, that's not, right? Because most business owners don't know their numbers. They don't know how much their marketing is costing them. They don't know how much equipment is costing them. They don't know how much insurance they're supposed to have and how much it's costing them. And here's the thing about it. The more money you make, the more these people want. And the more money that you make, the more money they want for insurance and workers' comp and all the other taxes and all of that. And so that's why it's important that we understand these things and not make the signs of why we make this mistake. So, what are the signs of you making this mistake? One is you're booked out for 3-4 weeks. If you're booked out more than 2 weeks, you need to start raising your prices. And I mean raising your prices, because if we're booked out more than 2 weeks, you're already losing jobs because you're done booked out too far. In fact, I know a good friend of mine says if you're booked out more than 2 weeks, one, you should already be that high pricing, and two, you should start bringing on another truck at that point, because that's the way that you do this. Here's another sign that you're leaving $800. Or for my Christmas light clients, you could be leaving $1,000 per job on there. And yes, you can do 5 installs, and so you're leaving $5,000 on the table. And so here's the thing of that is you're rarely losing jobs. Everybody's telling you yes, and we don't want everybody to tell us yes. Because here's the thing. If everybody is telling us yes, you're probably got 50% of the people that you're getting told yes by that they would pay twice as much. But yet we're leaving that money on the table. And that's the reason why I want you not to leave this money on the table. This is the reason why I want you to keep growing your business, right? And so these are all the things that we need to do. Here's the other thing about being booked out for 2-3 months is you're going to get burned out because you're only making $1,200 a day where you could be making $2,000 a day. And here's the thing. It's a lot easier to have an employee making good money doing $2,000 a day than making $1,200 a day, and nobody's really making a lot of money at that point. Yeah, you're doing okay, but you could be doing a lot better. And so that's the thing of why we want to do it. Another thing is it costs you more to do more jobs, right? When you're doing low paying jobs and you're going from one job to the next, then that's costing you more money. And that's another thing of why you're not able to do this. And then the last thing that this is going to keep you from doing is scaling. Because if you're not making money to be able to pay for people in the office, if you're not making money to have a general manager, then it's going to be real hard to be able to scale. Now, I get this. Sometimes it's hard to do this, but it is possible that you can make $2,000 a day doing pressure washing. I have several people doing it. I got people in Alabama doing it. I got people in Michigan doing it. I got people in Florida doing it. Yes, I got people in Texas doing it. I've got people all over this country making $2,000 a day doing pressure washing. Yes, I've got people all over this country making $10,000 a day doing Christmas lights. doing 5 jobs with their average ticket of $2,000. I've got people all over this country doing that. And so the reason why I want to help you grow your businesses is because I want you to be successful. I want you to be successful. So that's why we want to do that. So, what is the framework of a $2,000 day? Well, what is the cost in understanding your numbers? How much does it really cost you to know your numbers? Let's just say for pressure washing. We're going to do pressure washing first, and I'll do a Christmas light one. How much does it cost you to leave the door every day? I would bet to say that you probably don't even know this, but if you're doing website, you're doing your marketing, you got your phone, you got your truck, you got your gas, you got your bleach, you got all of these other things, you're anywhere from probably $400 to $600 a day just to leave out the door. It costs you that much per day just to leave out the door. And some of you will say, "You're crazy, Jay." I promise you, it costs you. You got your CRMs, you got all of those costs. And a lot of you don't realize you got all of these costs, right? You got equipment breakdown, you got equipment failure, you got all of these things that cost you probably anywhere from $400 to $600 per day per truck. Per day, probably per day for one truck. If you start doing 2 trucks, you're going to break some of that down, but you're still probably at least $300 to $400 per day just for that truck to go out. That's money costing you to run that thing. So understanding the true cost of how much does it cost. The next thing, are you doing packages? I see so many people go out and do a $500 job when they left the 800 when their average ticket is only $500 to $700. You should be getting your average ticket up to $900, $1,000 every ticket. Because here's the thing: if you can get your average ticket up to $700, $800, you only got to do 3 jobs, and I can do 3 jobs real easy. You start doing the 4th job, that's when it takes too much time and you're all there all day. But there's no reason that you can't do 3 jobs a day, especially if your average ticket is $700 to $1,000 or more. So those are things that you got to think about. Christmas lights, right? Are you doing packages to be able to get your average ticket up to $2,000? Are you adding on wreaths? Are you adding on the trees and minis and bushes? And are you charging $8 to $12 a foot for Christmas lights? That's how we get our average ticket up to the $1,200, by doing these little things to be able to implement this, right? And then increase pricing, right? When you see that you're out 2 weeks, start raising your prices. When we're 3 weeks out, really raising your prices, because that's the key of making sure that we're doing this. And then improving your sales process. Tonight, I was going to talk about customer service. I feel like customer service is one that is the most important thing that we can do. Are you answering the phone? How are you answering the phone? Are you taking a deep breath when you answer the phone? Are you smiling when you answer the phone? And you might think, "Jason, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard of." Well, those little things are what set you apart. Answering the phone is what sets you apart. Now, here's what I'm going to say. With AI, answering the phone is not going to be setting as many people apart. Being human is going to be setting people apart in answering the phone, because people will find out whether it's AI or not. And yes, a lot of my AI people that do AI, it's hard to tell if it's AI or not. So these are some things of doing the presentation and the sales process. Back to this book right here, he talks a lot about this book. In the first few chapters, he talks about videos. In the last few chapters, he talks about what you need to write, what you need to video, all of that kind of stuff. And so that's what that is. So here's the thing. What happens when you raise your prices? Well, when you raise your prices, you can be like my friend Jeremy that just hit his $1 million business last year. His average ticket for pressure washing is around $1,100 to $1,200. His average ticket for Christmas lights is over $2,000. So these are things that happen when you raise your prices. Or you can be like my friend Daniel that did almost $600,000 in 2024. And his average ticket was $1,700 to $1,800, right? And so these are things that you have to think about when you raise your prices. And I get it. It's scary. It's not fun. But this is something that you can do and that you are able to implement by doing this. And I get this. I understand it. It's not always easy. It's not. I promise you, it's not always easy. But you can do hard things. You know, the words that you tell yourself, your brain believes it. If you tell yourself that you can't get $2,000 days, you're right. You're going to struggle really hard to be able to get $2,000 days. Because if you don't believe it and your brain doesn't believe it, it's not going to happen. So that's why you got to get around people that think differently, that act differently. And like I said, a lot of times you got to pay to get into those rooms, to be around those people. If you want to be a millionaire, you need to sit in rooms with millionaires and not firemen that are sitting around thinking about making 80 grand a year, and that's great money. So if you want to be a multimillionaire and you want to get to 100 million, then you need to sit in rooms that people are making $100 million a year, because you will see and start believing that what it can be. If you're around people that are only making six figures, that's probably where you're going to be at. And I get this. It's a hard thing to believe sometimes. But I went to Burn Off last week and I was sitting next to a guy that was worth $10 million sitting right next to me. So that's where you got to start thinking about, what do you want? How do you want it? And what are you doing to get it? Because if you just hope that you can get $2,000 a day, hope don't get you nowhere. What actions are you taking to be able to get this? What actions are you taking to be able to grow your business? Are you just sitting there hoping that the marketing will happen and the phone will ring? Or are you doing network events? Are you putting out 100 yard signs a week? Are you doing a Facebook post 3, 4, 5 times a day? Are you making videos to answer your customers' questions? Are you writing blogs for your website? Are you paying somebody to do some of this stuff? What are you doing to make the phone ring? If we just think that this phone is just going to start ringing because I bought a $20,000 rig, it doesn't work that way. Nobody cares that you bought a $20,000 rig. I see this happen so many times. Well, Jason, I got this $30,000 rig. Well, that's great that you got a $30,000 rig, but it's not going to make you no money at the end. Nobody's going to buy it from you because you got a $30,000 rig. And I see this over and over. I have a friend in Georgia. He bought a $20,000 rig, and he was calling me because he couldn't get no work. And I said, how much money have you spent in marketing? Well, that's kind of stupid. His exact words. That's kind of stupid. I'm like, marketing is stupid? I would rather you spend $20,000 in marketing and buy the $0 equipment and see if you can make it work that way, because that's going to make you 100 grand way faster than having this $20,000 rig. And so this is definitely something that we have to think about. And when we start doing this, how do you handle pricing objections? Have you sat down and start running through a script to talk about what maybe you need to answer. Maybe you need to answer people's questions first before they can even ask them. If they got to ask their husband, when you say, if you're going an in-person quote, then you need to say, hey, can you make this decision on your own, or do you need your husband there to answer this question or to be able to make a decision? Why go out and do this? Another thing with this book that was it's a genius idea. They figured out that if the customer educates themselves, they got an 80% chance of getting a yes. If the customer goes and reads 30 pages on their website, that their close rate goes up 80%. So do you have on your website, especially you guys that are going in person, do you have a thing that lists out the things that they need to do before you come, so that you're answering all their questions and they're educating themselves? So when you do show up, you got an 80% chance of closing this job, versus before they did that, or before the person that didn't read it only has like a 25% chance of saying yes. So what would you rather do? Have them go on your website and say, hey, I want you to watch this video, this video, this video, and these are the things that I'm going to explain to you, and make sure that you understand and that you're educated. And some of it could be for pressure washing. You know, what is the difference between hiring Joe Blow and you, right? What separates you? Maybe it is soft washing. Maybe it is whatever, right? And so these are all things that we can do to separate us from this. You know, do you have a timeline of raising your prices? Do you raise your prices? Or are you still charging of 2020 prices? Well, everything has went up in the last 5 years. Do you know which customers to keep and which customers to let go? Do you know what your customer avatar is? Is it a female? Is it a male? I'm going to say most of you, it's a female. What age are they? How many kids do they have? Where do they live at? What subdivisions do they live at? What do they drive? These are all things that we know more about our customer. And the more we know about our customer, the better off we can sell to them and give them information, so when you come to sit down, they understand the information. And this is very important of how you can separate yourself from your competitors. I get it. There's people out there that my competitors. And what I will tell you is, the only competitor you have is you. What did you do yesterday? How can you do better today? Did you reach out and find 10 people yesterday? Or did you not find 10 people? Maybe you only found 2 people. So how today do I find 3 people? Maybe you're going to start doing commercial work. I love commercial work. Commercial work is an amazing. In fact, a lot of people don't know how to do commercial work. So if you want to set yourself apart from competitors, start doing commercial work. But these are definitely things that you got to remember of why it's so important of not leaving $800 a day on here. Again, let's break the math down one more time. By leaving $800 a day times 5, that's $4,000 every week that you're leaving on the table. $4,000 a week. That's $16,000 a month that you just did not get, because I'm booked out for the month. I'm booked out 2 months. Well, good for you that you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So would you rather be booked out 2 months and make a lot less money? Or would you because here's the thing, that's $16,000. That's literally profit. That's profit at the end of the day, because you're leaving $16,000 a month of profit on the table. So this is what I'm talking about when I say raise your prices. And I get it. Sometimes it's not always easy, but what I would challenge you to do is just start raising it a little bit, right? Some of you need to double your prices. Some of you, and here's the thing. I know people that have been in business for a long time need to double their prices. They're still charging what I was charging in 2018 when I sold my business, and they're still charging those prices, and they really need to raise their prices. And so this is something that you have to start looking at and doing this as we move forward. So with that, what are your all's questions? I'm going to read through some of these comments here. Also, I wanted to tell you one other thing. I am giving away $500. Yes, you heard that right. I'm giving away $500. So if you want to get entered, you can go to christmaslights.io/UZ. I won a challenge last week from UZ Marketing for you all buying signs through my link. And so with that, I got $500. I could have kept it myself, but I'm giving it away because I want to help you all. There is a couple things that you have to do to get entered. So I believe we're going to give it away the middle of June is when I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. It's on the website. But if you go to christmaslights.io/UZ, this is where you can get $500 worth of signs. So that can be almost 200 yard signs that you could get for free. So if you want to go check that out, I would definitely highly recommend you go check that out. The other thing too is if you want to know when I go live on Christmas Lights, you can text the word light, LITE, to 855-619-5483, or on pressure washing, you can text the word king to 859-696-1101. Also, I have 2 in-person classes coming up for Christmas Lights. I will have more. christmaslights.io/IPT. The first one's going to be in the middle of June in Michigan, up with my friends with Jeremy with Pink Pro Wash. And then my next one is going to be in July with my friends with Dan and Lindy down in Charlotte, North Carolina. So just some things to think about that are coming up. Jeremy Olson said, watching by the fire pit outside, hoping everyone is killing it. I would love to get to $1,000 to $2,000 a day. And again, you can get there. What are you doing to get the phone to ring? And what are you doing to answer the phone to make sure that you get to that? I will check that out. That's 3 jobs when your minimum is $450. Yep, that is exactly right. Simple Numbers, Big Profit is a great book on numbers that is geared toward entrepreneurs. I have not read that book. I may have to get that one next. Good evening, everyone. How's Artie doing? Is that a real brick wall? No, it is not a real brick wall, because that's how I'm able to change it to the Christmas lights behind me. Amen. I'm on year 3, stuck in infant mode. Glad to hear the hard facts. This is what I would say. Year 3, year 10, you make $100,000 to $300,000 a year, and you're stuck. What do we need to do? One is, are you doing all the small things? Are you doing the things? Even these cards, right? If you want to take a picture of that, you can give me a review. I'd appreciate it if I've helped you out. Guess what? You can do the same thing. So, these cards here, you can make them off Canva. You can do it. You can can have me make them if you want to. Go to christmaslight.io. I can make them for you for pressure washing too. But, you know, I was looking at some people that they're doing well, but could they be doing better? That's the question. Could you be doing better? Are you getting a review? If you've been in business long enough, how many reviews do you have? Do you have enough reviews? Is this something that you need to get more reviews? These are all things that we got to start looking at and being able to decide what we need to do to make this better. Because a lot of times we don't do the little things. We don't answer the phone. We don't make sure that we are asking for the review on the phone. We don't ask for the review when we first get there. We don't ask for the review at the end of the job. We don't text them after the end of the job. We don't call them after the job and see if they're satisfied to get us a review, right? Because reviews are that important. And here's the thing with reviews, it's not just Google reviews anymore either. Are we getting Facebook reviews? Are we getting Yelp reviews? Yes, as much as I hate Yelp, are we getting Yelp reviews? And yes, Yelp reviews are a great thing to do too. And so when we do all the little things, it makes big things happen, right? A lot of times we do the little things and we're like, is this really going to do anything? I got one more review. And the answer is yes, it is going to do it. And, are you making sure that you are answering the phone, you're getting quotes out within 20 minutes, an hour? Or is it taking you 2, 3 hours? Well, Jason, I'm on the truck. I ain't got time for that. Well, how much being on the truck is it really costing you? Right? A lot of people don't realize being on the truck, how much it costs you. Because when you're on the truck, you're doing a $20 an hour task. I literally can pay people less than $20 an hour to drive that truck around and make that truck make money. 20, 25 bucks an hour, maybe 30 bucks an hour. But I can make that money, 20, 30 bucks an hour by doing that. And so by you being on the truck, you ain't doing the things that are going to be the $1,000 an hour. Are you going to the networking events? Are you talking to people? Are you going to see the people that do the HOAs and the people that do the apartment association? Are you doing those things? Because if you're not, that's why we're stuck a lot of times. I almost pulled the trigger today on a 4-gallon beginner pressure washer. I ran a window cleaning business. I run a window cleaning business. What pressure do you think I should get? So you should definitely get a 4-gallon a minute machine. You can be, I would honestly, if you got a little bit of extra cash, I'd get a 5.5-gallon minute machine. They're only, I think you can get them with the 3,000 PSI, and that's going to be a better machine than the 4-gallon. You need a J rod and you need a downstream injector, and that's all you need to be able to do everything except roof cleanings. And then you would need a surface cleaner. So these are what you can do to be able to get you up and running for a pressure washing. Hey, Jason, very soon I'm going to pull the trigger and buy some extra stock, $2,000 for Christmas site supplies in advance of the current inventory stock left at Lights at Wholesale. Any advice? Nope. I would probably look at doing, I would definitely get your spools. I don't know what things will be running short when this season starts. Um, but we know that you need spools and bulbs. Clips, they should have plenty of clips. I wouldn't worry about clips as much. And then the only other thing that I would get is your males and females. Those are the things that are going to be, could be hard to get, is males, females, your bulbs, and wire spool. I probably wouldn't get much of the extension cord because that you can get locally if you have to. That's not something that I don't see is going to run out. But I do see things running out of the bulbs or the wire or the males and females. Those are the things that are going to be the hardest to get. So That's what I would just be focused on this year for you, Odin. Make sure you go to christmaslights.io, and that helps me out. I appreciate it. I made sure to keep plenty of money for marketing and yard signs. Yes. Highly recommend Endless Customers. It will help you implement systems in the background where a lot of people are winging it. A highly actionable book. Yes, it is. What is that $2,000 per day, one truck or multiple truck and people? That would be $2,000 a day, one truck. If you have two trucks, then that's $2,000 a day per truck, is what you want to shoot for. And you can do that with one person or you can do it with two people. Um, I would do it with one person if you can. I know it's not as always as easy as to do that, but if you do it with two, you will still be profitable. We have increased our minimum from no minimum to $600 to $800, and the more better the sales and profits. And here's the one thing that is the best thing about raising your prices: you will get a better customer. Better customers come when you raise your prices. I know that sounds like ridiculous and I know that sounds stupid, but you will get less complaints off of a $2,000 job than you will off of a $300 job. We have, oh, I just read that question. Is the giveaway for pressure washing also? Yes. I do have it for, I think I have a page for pressure washing, but I don't know which one it is. It's all going to be the same. I'm going to put everybody's name and pressure washing and Christmas lights all in one. So if you put it on one, I'll figure out what one is for pressure washing, so you can put two entries in, basically, is what it'll do. You can do one in pressure washing, one in Christmas lights, and get you in there. What were your most successful marketing strategies for pressure washing as well as other services? For me, it has changed though, was Google Ads. Google Ads was very well for me when in 2018-19. Google Ads was very good all the way up to about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Google Ads has kind of went down a little bit. Google local service ads do pretty well also. I do like the Google local service ads. They do well. Um, Yard signs. I did yard signs back then. If I started another business, I'd do yard signs again. Yard signs work amazing. They do very well. So those are the things that I would probably look at and be doing. Facebook for Christmas light, Facebook ads work really well. Pressure washing, not so much. I know some people that have had some success with them, but that. And then your website is the other thing. But on the same note of that, as I said earlier, with the 0 clicks, that's going to get tough with Google. Now, with the AI side, you still got to feed it, and hopefully AI will find you. So that's kind of what you're going for. I know you've answered this before, but who do you use for yard signs? About to buy my first batch. So I would go to moneybushes.com. Moneybushes.com. When you buy from moneybushes.com, it helps me buy a cup of coffee, and I appreciate it very much. And they're about the cheapest yard signs that you can get out there. Would you recommend putting out two washers on one truck or one washer for two trucks? I would recommend, when I did run two guys per truck, I didn't put two pressure washers on it. It only had one pressure washer on it. And here's why. Because most of the time, the second guy is a guy that's inexperienced and they don't know what they're doing. Now, I do know some people will take one guy and soap while the other guy rinses, but in the same period, right? If you're doing property protection and you're taping and you're doing that, one guy's doing that while the other guy's getting started washing. And by the time that he gets back around, he can start taking that tape off. He can start doing that. He can do the 5 rounds. And there's a lot of things that you can do. And he can do hose management, so that way it makes it a lot easier. So the other issue is if you do two pressure washers, how much are they pulling? Are you doing two 8 gallon minutes? Because if you're pulling 16 gallons a minute, you got enough water flow for both pressure washers. So those are the things that you have to look at when you're doing that. We had a lot better outcomes raising our minimums. People don't care, they just want lights. Yep, that's exactly right. Because if you're selling on price, people will care. But when you're selling the emotion, people don't care about the price. Um, I learned the minimum idea from Jason Guyman. Thank you. Also, with my confidence for selling, right? And this is the other thing that you have to start thinking about. You have to be confident in your pricing. If you don't believe that you're worth $300 an hour, $400 an hour, your customer is not going to believe that you're worth that much. There's people already don't believe that you're worth that much, because if they're only $200 or $300, they're not going to definitely believe that they're worth a lot more than that. And so that's why it's important that you are very confident in what you're selling. And the more confident that you are of selling Christmas lights or selling pressure washing, the more likely that you are going to close these jobs. It just works. I know it don't always make sense to me either, but the more confident that I am, that I believe that I am worth this, the more likely it's going to show and they're going to believe it too. And that's the most important part of this, of how do you do that? And some of it is you got to practice. Go to the mirror, do a video of you and just walk through the process. Then do a video of you with your spouse, and she's the wife and you're the one that's trying to sell them. It's kind of like when you go to bed at night, what you're trying to do is sell something, right? You got to do the same thing to your customers, because if they don't believe in you, then that's going to be a problem for you. And that's why it's very important that we practice. Because one of the things I do in my pressure washing and Christmas light class is we actually get up and talk one-on-one groups. Like, you have to stand up and you have to meet a stranger and you have to talk and try to sell that person your services. Because if you can't do it in my class, the likelihood that you're going to go to some stranger's house and be confident in doing it. So my last class, we talked about door knocking. There was a guy, a brother-in-law of Justice, that I just had on a couple weeks ago. His first time through, it was horrendous. He was pitiful, pitiful. It was terrible. But the next day, after he did it one or two times, it was amazing. He did an awesome job, because he was able to switch a switch in his brain to be able to say, I can do this. I am awesome at this. And when he did that in my class, when he goes out in the real world, he's going to have the confidence to say, I can sell a $2,000 job. I can close a $3,000 job, because I believe in myself, and I'm not going, well, I don't know if they're going to buy this or not. That just sounds too expensive. There's, nobody in my market pays that much. All my competitors are way too cheap. And what I'm going to tell you is don't worry about it. I was talking this week with two people. Jeremy's in Michigan, and he has cheap people. And then my good old friends Joey and Chelsea out of Dallas. And if you know anything about Dallas, if I'd say anything about Dallas and Christmas lights, I will always get, you just don't understand, Jason. You can't get that in my area. But yet, Chelsea and Joey are doing $1 million business just doing Christmas lights in Dallas. And no, they're not $4 a foot. Yes, they're $8 to $12 a foot. And yes, they're in Dallas, Texas. And yes, my friend Tristan is in Dallas, Texas. And yes, he's getting $8 to $10 a foot. And yes, I understand that you're going to call 5 people and one person's going to answer the phone and they're going to be at $2 a foot. And that's what you think you have to charge. And that is the worst thing that you can think. And that is why people will go out of struggle and go out of business. It's all a numbers game. And once you figure out how to get the phone to ring, raise your prices until you get a close rate that works for your cost per lead. Here is a line that works to sell a wash job to men. Using us will help you take your weekends back so you can play golf or spend time with your family. We help take back your weekends because we are selling time. We are not selling pressure washing. We are selling emotions of Christmas lights. We are not selling Christmas lights. If you want to go cheap, sell Christmas lights. If you want to go cheap, sell pressure washing. Talk about the soft washing and the chemicals or the detergents and how you can do this. But if you want to sell time, that's all people want back is their time. And they want to sell emotions. When you can talk about Granny getting to see her grandkid's face and the way it's going to light up, it's going to light your wallet up too. But if you're talking to Granny about these C9 bulbs and their LED and it blah, 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 that's going to be your cheap people. How do you calculate closing rate? So, how many customers do you got? Take all the phone calls that you got. How many quotes did you send out? Is an easy way to do it. Look at, and every person you should be putting in your CRM, so that's going to give you a better rate. So every person that you put in your CRM and divide that by how many jobs that you close. So let's say you gave out 100 quotes and 30 people bought. Your closing rate is 30%. If you gave out 100 quotes and you closed 95 of them, your closing rate is 95%. A really good closing rate should be in about the 40 to 60% range. And what I will tell you is the people that I know that are even higher than that or lower than that are still making $1 million. So that's what I'm getting at. So that's how you do your close rate. So with that, don't forget, if you want $500 worth of free signs for a giveaway, you can go to christmaslights.io/UZ, fill out whatever it needs you to fill out, and that way you can get entered in. I think it's going to be the middle of June is when I'm giving it away. So that's when I will be giving this away. And yes, please hit the like button. Please comment on my videos. I appreciate it. It does help me out. I do answer to back most of the time. I try to. I'm excited. I've got some exciting news coming up. I've got a shop that I will be renting out that I'm going to be making it an amazing training center, and it's going to be awesome because I'll be able to do a lot more videos out of it. And so I'm excited of coming up that as long as everything goes right, I should have it by June, and I will have a shop where I will be able to have classes in it, have trainings in it, have I'm going to do some pressure washing classes that I haven't done many this year because it's hard to do pressure washing classes different places. So now that I'll have my own place, I will be able to start doing that, having more marketing, more sales, because I want to help you guys grow. I want you guys to be successful, and you can be successful. And that's the awesome thing about it. What did you do to get your first job? You want to know what I did to get my first job? I don't recommend it. It was this thing called Groupon. And yes, I did Groupon because I didn't know how to do marketing. I didn't even know how to do yard signs at this point. And I did Groupon and I sold the job for $200. Groupon paid me $100 and I made $100. The crazy thing about this job that I did, 4 years later, I went back and rewashed that house again and charged, I think it was like $600 the second time versus $200 the first time. So that's what I did to get my first job. I don't recommend that. I would do yard signs now if I wanted to get it out there, is what I would do. Is it worth getting into permanent lighting if I'm already doing Christmas lights now? If you want to do Christmas light or permanent lights all year and you don't want to do anything else, then I would say yes, it is worth getting into permanent lights. Permanent lights is definitely coming more and more, and it is definitely one of the things that I do believe it will take off more and more. I know a lot of places around the country you probably don't see a lot of them, but there is a lot in Utah, and there's been a lot this year. And so I would personally say yes to permanent lighting. I do teach permanent lighting also. It's not rocket science, it's about how do you get the jobs also. Great live again, Jason. We appreciate all the information here in Indiana. Well, Brandon, I thank you for watching my live. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate every one of you coming and listening and learning and taking action. Because if you don't take action, nothing's going to happen. So, what are you going to do this week and take action in your business to grow it and be successful? And with that, can't wait to see you on Wednesday night. I'm actually going to have a special guest on Wednesday night. Jeremy Main's going to be on Wednesday night. And Jeremy and I are going to be sharing something that we're going to start coming up the following week. So don't miss out on Wednesday night. I'll be posting it out on Pressure Washing and Christmas Lights because it is Jeremy and he does pressure washing and Christmas lights. And so see you on Wednesday night. And I'll talk to you all later.